Hello, we are in A Course in Miracles workbook for students, lesson 76. I am under no laws but God's. We have observed before now many senseless things have seemed to you to be salvation. Each has imprisoned you with laws as senseless as itself. You are not bound by them. Yet to understand that this is so, you must first realize salvation lies not there. While you would seek for it in things which have no meaning, you bind yourself to laws which make no sense. Thus do you seek to prove salvation is where it is not. Today we will be glad you cannot prove it, for if you could, you would forever seek where salvation is not and never find it. The idea for today tells you once again how simple is salvation. Look for it where it waits for you, and there it can be found. Look nowhere else, for it is nowhere else. Think of the freedom in the recognition that you are not bound to all the strange and twisted laws you have set up to save you. You really think that you will starve unless you have stacks of green paper strips and piles of metal discs. You really think a small round pellet or some fluid pushed into your veins through a sharpened needle will ward off death. You really think you are alone unless another body is with you. It is insanity that thinks these things. You call them laws, but put them under different names in a long catalog of rituals that have no use and serve no purpose. You think you must obey the laws of medicine, of economics, and of health. Protect the body, and you will be saved. These are not laws, but madness. The body is endangered by the mind that hurts itself. The body suffers that the mind will fail to see it is the victim of itself. I'm going to pause right there and look for 111 and 112. 111 is at the top. We have observed before how many senseless things we have seemed to you to be salvation. Your faith is placed in the most trivial and insane symbols: pills, money, protective clothing, influence, prestige, being liked, knowing the right people, an endless list of forms of of nothingness which you endow with magical power. This is from the workbook, lesson 51 through 3, and then the text. The body works to get them little metal discs or paper strips, doing senseless things, and tosses them away for senseless things it does not need and does not even want. And that's in the text 27. And then let's find 112 here. All right, the idea for today, I see it. The idea for today tells you once again how simple is salvation. Where was I? I'm going to read it again. The idea for today tells you once again how simple is salvation. How simple, then, is God's plan for salvation? That's from the text. Salvation is simple, being of God, and therefore very easy to understand, again from the text. You can certainly look this up at another time or pause the video and look it up. And then, how simple is salvation? So it's told to us multiple times. How simple is God's plan for salvation? All right, back to the top. The body's suffering is a mask the mind holds up to hide what really suffers. It would not understand it is its own enemy, that it attacks itself and wants to die. It is from this your laws would save the body. It is for this you think you are a body. There are no laws except the laws of God. This needs repeating over and over until you realize that it applies to everything that you have made in opposition to His will. Your magic has no meaning. What it is meant to save does not exist. Only what it is meant to hide will save you. The laws of God can never be replaced. We will devote today to rejoicing that this is so. It is no longer a truth that we would hide. We realize instead it is the truth which keeps us free forever. Magic imprisons, but the laws of God set free. The light has come because there are no laws but His. We will begin the longer practice periods today with a short review of some of the different kinds of laws we have believed we must obey. These would include, for example, the laws of nutrition, I'm guilty, of immunization, of medication, and of the body's protection in innumerable ways. Think further. Think further. You believe in the laws of friendship, of good relationships. I can't say this word. And reciprocity. I know I said that wrong. Please forgive me. I know I pronounced a word the other day. I kept pronouncing it wrong too. So you just change that. Practice some forgiveness for me. Thank you. For us. Perhaps you even think that there are laws which set forth what is God's and what is yours. Many religions have been based on this. They would not save, but damn in heaven's name. Yet they are no more strange than the other laws you hold must be obeyed to make you feel safe. So they're no more strange than other laws you hold must be obeyed to make you safe. There are no laws but God's. No laws but God's. Dismiss all foolish magical beliefs today and hold your mind in silent readiness to hear the voice that speaks the truth to you. You will be listening to the one who says, there is no loss under the laws of God. Payment is neither given nor received. I'm going to pause there because we have three footnotes to read. All right, 113. We realize instead, if I can find it, I can see it on the page and then I look through the camera and I can't find it. Okay. We realize instead it is a truth which keeps us free forever. 113. John 8:32. And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. And then let's look for 114. Here it is. Right there. Okay, right there. All right. Think further. You believe in laws of friendship, of good relationships. There's that word again. And I don't know why I can't say it. Probably because it's broken up. Reciprocity. Anyway, perhaps you even think that there are laws which set forth what is God's and what is yours. A major focus of the Course is to correct the traditional view that what is God's is His alone. The Course therefore emphasizes that God's power, glory, will, name, holiness, love, knowledge, thoughts, peace, function, purpose, kingdom, and sons are also ours because He has shared them with us. So whatever is God's is ours. All right, and now 115. Many religions have been based on this. They have been based that perhaps you even think that there are laws which set forth what is God and what is yours. Many religions have been based on this. Religions is in quotation marks, as it is in the notes, because Jesus does not consider those true religions, since they are based on a God that is not purely loving. This is similar to his comment in chapter 3 of the text, where he mentions the traditional view of the crucifixion, that God permitted and even encouraged one of his sons to suffer because he was good, and then says this particularly anti-religious concept happens to enter into many religions, and this is neither by chance nor coincidence. Alright, so bear with me. I'm putting on my readers. I've been struggling a little bit, so here we go. Can you believe that would help? Haha. Alright, so exchange cannot be made. There are no substitutes, and nothing is replaced by something else. God's laws forever give and never take. Hear him who tells you this and realize how foolish are the laws you thought upheld the world you thought you saw. Then listen further. He would tell you more about the love your Father has for you, about the endless joy he offers you, about his yearning for his only Son, created as his channel for creation, denied to him by his belief in hell. Let us today open God's channels to him and let his will extend through us to him. Thus is creation endlessly increased. His voice will speak of this to us, as well as the joys of heaven, which his laws keep limitless forever. We will repeat today's idea until we have listened and understood that there are no laws but God's. Then we will tell ourselves as a dedication with which the practice period concludes, I am under no laws but God's. We will repeat this dedication as often as possible today, at least 4 or 5 times an hour, as well as an answer to any temptation to experience ourselves as subject to other laws throughout the day. It is our statement of our freedom from all danger and all tyranny. It is our acknowledgement that God is our Father and that his Son is saved. I am under no laws but God's. I'm going to go ahead and read the commentary. Let me move that here. Practice instructions. The purpose of this lesson is to really understand that you are under no laws but God's, to see the freedom in this idea and to rejoice that it is so. So your practice periods are longer, 2 times for 10 to 15 minutes again. In the first phase, briefly review the different laws you believe in. These include bodily laws, such as laws of nutrition, medicine, and economics. Social laws, such as laws of... There we go, I know. Okay, and good relationship, and religious laws, which set forth what you must give to God in order for him to grant you his gifts. Okay, so dismiss these laws with the thought that there are no laws but God's, then wait in receptive silence to hear God's voice. This is another exercise in listening to the Holy Spirit. While listening, from time to time, repeat the idea as an invitation to God's voice to help you really understand the idea. When you hear the Holy Spirit, he may tell you that God's laws, in contrast to the world's laws, only give. They do not ask for payment before they deliver you their endless blessings. He may go on to tell you of all the blessings these laws offer you, including the limitless joys of heaven, all of which stem from God's infinite love for you. Remember to listen in confidence, knowing that even if you hear nothing now, God's voice is still speaking to you, and that your listening today will bring you closer to really hearing. If you do hear something, you may want to write it down afterwards. Conclude by repeating the idea, I am under no laws but God's. Frequent reminders, 4 to 5 per hour at least. Repeat the idea as a declaration of freedom from all the tyrannical laws of this world, and an acknowledgement that you live only under the blessing of God. Response to temptation. Whenever you feel subject to the laws of this world, repeat the idea. Because we usually take the laws of the world for granted, we don't always realize when we feel oppressed by them. Therefore, you may want to periodically scan your mind for the things that are weighing on you and identify the laws behind them. At any given moment, for instance, you might find that you feel oppressed by the laws of hunger, of time, you may be working against a deadline, of money, you may feel a shortage, and of social dynamics. You may be in a politically delicate situation. And laws of being tired. That's one that plagues me. Note the laws you feel oppressing you and respond by repeating the idea as a real declaration of your freedom from them. I am under no laws but God. And this body may be tired, but it's not me, and I am under no laws but God. Commentary. This is perhaps one of the most challenging lessons in the workbook. It confronts head-on a whole panoply of security blankets and substitutes for salvation we have developed. Special relationships, etc. Body, oh gosh, I absolutely feel this. And we have convinced ourselves we depend on eating right, exercise. It shocks us by its radical assertions. If we are open to what it says, we will begin to sometimes I mumble, I apologize. We will begin to see that the Course is challenging all of our basic assumptions about life and about ourselves. We are far more entrenched in the ego's illusions than we have heretofore realized. The following scenario forms the background to this lesson. We are perfect, formless mind, each of us parts of a seamless whole, but we have wished to separate off and fragment a small piece of mind to call me. Moreover, we have not only wished to do so, we have convinced ourselves that we have actually done it. Our sense of identity has become restricted to this little fragment of mind. Our mind has felt enormous guilt because of this belief, which is false. 2. We have made up a world filled with bodies for 2 reasons. First, to support our illusions of separateness, and second, to escape from the guilt in our minds by projecting that guilt onto the world and the others who fill it. We have become primarily identified with our own body, rather than even with the fragment of mind we perceive as being within the body. Believing we are the body and that we, our bodies, are engendered by many things in the world, we have devised an endless list of means for protecting and preserving our bodies. These are the laws of the world spoken of in this lesson. The first sentence of Lesson 76 refers to an earlier statement in the first 3 paragraphs of Lesson 71 that pointed out how many senseless things we have looked to for our salvation, which can be understood as protection or safety or even happiness. In 71, the key factor about each of these things was this thought: if this were different, I would be saved. Lesson 76 now adds the thought that each of these things has imprisoned you with laws as senseless as itself. For example, if we look to good physical health, To save us, we become bound by a myriad of laws governing health, nutrition, medicine, and so on. The lesson identifies many of the so-called laws we believe ourselves to be subject to. The need for money, paper strips and metal discs, the use of medicine to ward off disease, the need for physical interaction with other bodies, such as sex and companionship, laws of medicine, economics and health, nutrition, exercise, sleep, vitamins, any way we try to protect the body, laws of friendship, of the good relationships, and, this word, being fair, and even religious laws. We are not actually bound by any of these laws. That is a stunning and almost unbelievable statement. In order to understand our freedom from these laws, however, we must first realize salvation lies not there. In other words, we have to realize that our bodies and our egos are not what need preservation. We have to undo the mistake we have made in identifying what and who we are. That undoing, of course, is what the entirety of A Course in Miracles is all about. In saying that we bind ourselves to laws that make no sense, as long as we are seeking for salvation by attempting to change something, anything, other than our minds, the Course is telling us that our subjugation to these laws of the world is something that we have chosen and are continuing to choose, moment to moment, following the dictates of our own ego in its attempts to preserve itself at the expense of our reality. We blindly continue to look for salvation outside of ourselves. That blind pursuit is what binds us to the laws of the world. By implication, ending that mistaken pursuit will free us from the laws of the world. We think that miracles mean sudden healing of the body, or the arrival of money from an unexpected source, or the appearance of someone or something we will believe will bring us happiness. To believe this is still to seek for salvation from outside of our own minds, and will continue to bind us to the laws of the world. What's worse, it also continues to make our separated ego identity seem real to us. The idea of living without any need for money or medicine or physical means of protection appeals to everyone. That state can be ours, but paradoxically, not by seeking for it. I think I get a little tired when I'm reading so much, so please bear with me. Okay. Where was I? Okay, the world and its laws are not where freedom lies. Having all the money we need magically provided is not freedom. Having perfect physical health is not freedom. Having good relationships is not freedom. Freedom has nothing to do with our bodies. Freedom can be found only within ourselves. The body is endangered by the mind that hurts itself. All of our physical lack and suffering is unconsciously engendered by our minds, in an attempt to keep the mind from consciously realizing that it is its own victim. Because of our primal guilt caused by our belief in the reality of separation, our mind attacks itself and wants to die. This is why we think we are bodies which do die. The laws we think we must obey in order to save our bodies are just the mind's attempt to camouflage the real problem, which is its own thoughts of guilt and separation. God's laws forever give and never take. The laws we see are not like this, therefore they cannot be real, because they do not come from God, and there are no laws but God's. In today's practice, we are asked to consider our foolish laws and then to listen deep within to hear the voice that speaks the truth to you. This voice will tell us of God's undying love, His desire that we know endless joy, and His yearning to use us as channels for His creation. If we hear this message of love within ourselves, our thoughts of guilt and separation will vanish. We will realize who we are, and in doing so, our insane desire to attack and kill ourselves will be over. The cause of our false seeking will go, and with it our bondage to the laws that govern those idols that we have made. By bringing our imaginary laws into direct confrontation with what the laws of God must be, laws in which there is no loss, no giving and receiving of payment, no exchanges nor substitutions, but only God's unconditional love, we are bringing our illusions to the truth. See the text, go ahead, for an excellent discussion of just why these two systems of belief need to be brought together so that the falsehoods will vanish in the light of the truth. So that's text 14, section, I think that's 12, 1 through 4. Alrighty, thank you for joining with me. I am under no laws but God's. I love you. Have a beautiful day. Thank you for joining with me here.